Good evening, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. People, how are we? Good to be back again. Welcome to the first Brews at 10 of the week. And welcome back to anybody who joined us yesterday on the Sunday live stream. Okay, I'll get into what's coming up. But first of all, there's background music. Yeah, so returning viewers will maybe have noticed that I've changed the background music a bit. Had some copyright issues with the previous stuff I was using, which I was under the impression wasn't under copyright. But yeah, I've double checked with this stuff. This should be safe. A little bit of a channel update there as we get into Monday night stream. Welcome to the chat, Chris and Kit. Great to see you back. Oh, it's Octo Mimic, of course. Yes. A couple of people are having name changes and using different accounts recently. I'll try and keep up. Great to see you back, nonetheless. How you doing? So, of course, yesterday, as we were on the stream, there was still that breaking story about Biden stepping down. I'll be touching on the latest on that as well, of course. A few things related to some of the topics we were talking about yesterday, actually. A few updates in terms of activism, protests, these kind of things that we were talking about. Bit of UK stuff. There's a few things I missed out yesterday, actually, that I wanted to talk about in UK politics. And the updates on Gaza, of course. Yeah, let me know what you think about the new background music. Feedback, very welcome. And yeah, before we get into clips, articles, etc., I'll set my stall out for a little bit. Please do hit the thumbs up button if you're listening live or even on a replay. And please do share the channel across your social media as well. Help us reach a wider audience. Yeah, I'm liking the new tune. I've tethered a few together that are, well, they're provided by YouTube themselves, so I know that they're perfectly safe to use. Pretty funky stuff. Okay, just getting things lined up. Also, if you're watching back on a replay, please do add a comment or hit super thanks to help support the channel. Please do also consider joining the channel if you've not done so already. It's just 99p, and hit the button under the screen to find out the perks. Thanks a lot for all of your support so far. As always, I'll be kicking off by saying thanks to all the members on the channel. So if you want to join this list of awesome people, please do hit the button. Consider supporting the channel in that way. Thanks as always to those of you who've bought gift memberships for other viewers recently. And at the end of the stream, I'm going to see who's about. I know that Kevin Logan was on earlier. If he's still around, going to be raiding into his channel. I think Helen was on as well tonight, but I'm not sure if she's doing a bit of a shorter stream. We'll see. But also, if you're not familiar with Helena's No Justice channel or Kevin Logan, please do check them out. Just going to turn this little segment of the background music down a bit. It's going to be neo-funky now. I don't think I've seen the Melanie Sykes video Octomimic's referring to in the chat, but is that worth checking out? Post a link in the chat if you like, Chris. Octomimic. Alright, I think I've got things in a pretty decent order. I'll get started with the first clip. It's someone I've started following recently on social media. Not shown one of their clips before, but I thought this one was pretty good. It's, you know, kind of comedic at the end. But it's, yeah, it's a description of various positions on the political spectrum. And it doesn't go into granular detail. It picks out various examples. But there's a bit at the end that I think you'll appreciate. All right, so this is a guy called Rathbone. Yeah, check them out. This was on Twitter, so check Rathbone out. He's done other similar content. Check this one out though.
Workers own and production. Communities are in charge of their resources. Private capital owns the means of production and hires people for its profit to work the means of production for a wage, which is only part of the value that is collectively produced. The ultimate goal of socialism, a classless, stateless society. Or it can also be defined as any human relationship which expresses the principle of to each according to their need, from each according to their ability, whether it be interpersonally, in an economic system, or society itself. The principle of dismantling illegitimate authority via direct action. Believing that a society without class or state is possible. Being generally confused and holding two contradictory ideas harmoniously. Somehow believing that illegitimate power structures in society should be dismantled, but hypocritically being a supporter of capitalism. Uncritically praising the political economy of capitalism while blaming all of society's problems on government without acknowledging that the government is owned by capitalists. Begins at anti-capitalism. Being pro-capitalist, reformist, reactionary, which ultimately means sympathizing with fascism, because fascism defends and violently enforces capitalism. Far right
Oh, that bit at the end got me. Yeah, I mean, pretty decent descriptions there of various points on the political spectrum. Well done to Rathbone. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on his content. Yeah, so credit to him, of course, for that. Hope it's okay with me using that. Shout out to him. Do check him out. Right, where to begin next? Apart from bringing the background music back in. Yeah, it was someone I follow on Twitter. Twitter even shared one of the videos. So I'm glad that one came my way. I'm just working out which order to do things in. Yeah, we'll quickly go into this Kamala Harris thing. Is she going to be the Democratic nominee? As expected, as predicted. You know, it wasn't an amazingly talented prediction yesterday on the stream, and to predict that with that breaking news that the Republicans would try and, you know, grab a hold of it as much as they could and come out with some absolute fucking clangers, which they have done, of course. These arguments about the legitimacy of her standing and whatnot. Yeah, we'll touch a little bit on that again. Get into some new stuff. Right, so we best go over to the screen. I'm just going to dip through some of the latest articles and posts. It's still... there's still information feeding through, with it being... There's still information coming through with the time difference, so... This is a particularly interesting stat. She's raised $81 million in a day. It's been donated in the last 24 hours. I was also reading she'll be, if she is the nominee, inheriting Joe Biden's 96 million, I believe it is as well. I think that might be. I saw that earlier. There it is. Who gets access to Biden's 96 million in campaign funds? So that combined, that's a pretty big chunk of change to run a campaign on. But I said on the stream yesterday, I think this decision is going to hinder the Democrats. I want to know what you think about the amount of time that Biden took out before he announced it as well. I suspect that this COVID thing was perhaps just a PR thing. It might not be a case of dementia. There could be other medical conditions which mean that he's not able to run. But it's looking like that it's because of these mental health issues. But just that sort of period of time, it's what happened during that time he was away from the public eye for a few days. It'd be very interesting to find out what was going on. So this, yeah, just go through some other points. I do want to get into other stuff as well. Well, Republicans are losing the rag over this. That's for sure. They've already had the primary elections, is the main thing that they're saying is undemocratic, that people went out and voted in the primary elections, and to replace the candidate they're claiming is illegitimate. Not too sure about that. By their definition, I'm not saying this is going to happen to Joe Biden, but should a candidate, for example, fall into a coma for whatever reason, by their logic, they should be they should be the one that stands at the election, even though clearly on medical grounds, you know, different kinds of medical grounds. And I guess the stupidest thing is that, oh, sorry, let's just go over to the screen. One of the most ridiculous things is that the Republicans have been screaming that Biden isn't fit to be in office for so long, and now that he's stepped down, they say, well, you can't step down, that's undemocratic. I'm laughing, but it's goodness me. No, I'm a critic of both Biden and Trump for different reasons. Where mainstream media is concerned, for a while, you know, the arguments were just boiling down to who may or may not be the most or least senile, for example. But some interesting absentees, apparently, from people who have already decided to back Harris. Well, most notably, former President Barack Obama. She's already been endorsed by the Clintons. Vance has thrown his hat into the ring there. Of course, I mentioned on recent live streams about the sheer hypocrisy. I mean, this careerist, former critic of Trump, and now he's his running mate. Wow, unbelievable. Yeah, I'm not going to play that clip. So, again, he's hit out at Biden for dropping out. This is all unprecedented. It's unbelievably, an election involving Trump is getting a bit crazy already. Well, notably at the moment, no one's formally from the Democrats decided to challenge Kamala Harris or anything. There's apparently going to be a vote, some kind of internal vote. Again, that's something that the Republicans are hitting out at. So I'd say they're taking swipes at each other, but at the moment, it's really given the Republicans a stick to beat them with. And of course, a line through the teeth, through a lot of it, of course. Although that said, sorry, I didn't notice this. This report from earlier. Gretchen Whitmer has been asked if she'd take, the vice president role. Right, so she's endorsed Harris. So she could become vice president. She's been asked to take the role. But she appears to have declined it. Yeah, she says she wants to stay in Michigan, according to that article. And I don't know if you saw when she appeared to make this speech, there was despite a lot of hype and hyperbole over what might be in it, in the end it was very brief. lots of smiling and so on. So yeah, that's the main rhetoric anyway, coming from the Republicans. You know, he'd already been in the primaries. Yada yada yada. Bada boop, bada bing. We went over a lot of this on yesterday's stream as well. Yeah, please do watch that back at a later opportunity if you've not seen it already. Yeah, I won't yap on too much about US politics. I'll just see which way we're going next. Oh, cool, the lemon. Welcome to the chat. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Thanks for the raid, Helena. It's great to see those of you who joined us from No Justice. Yeah, shout out to Helena at No Justice once again. Yeah, welcome to My Left Eye. If you've not been here before, we look at politics through a left-wing perspective. This is one of the daily weekday shows, Brews at 10. You're all very welcome here, Solidarity. And welcome back, Davinia. And Becca, great to see you too. Awesome, yeah. We've just been through a few of the latest updates with the potential Kamala Harris. Well, it's looking like a probable Kamala Harris nomination at the moment. Yeah, going to be moving on to a couple of other things been talking about on streams recently, but you're all very welcome here. Great to see you. Yeah, please do hit the thumbs up button as well if you're joining us from Helena's No Justice channel. Help the stream reach an even wider audience. I'm your host, Lefty.
Workers own and operate the means of production. Communities are in charge of their resources.
Right, so on yesterday's stream, I'll just get the music back on. Yesterday's stream, we talked a little bit about those record custodial sentences for the climate activists, the 5 of them, who 4 of them got 4 years, 1 got 5 years, and there were a lot of public faces at the protest outside the court, the sort of demo, show of support and solidarity, including MP Clive Lewis, who had to point out that he was representing himself and not his political party, with a bit of a disclaimer at the beginning. And I'm going to be going on to a follow-up to do with that. But first of all, it's an explanation about what he, why he actually took the protest when he was being sworn in the House of Commons. Do you remember that? It was a, pro-Republican, not in the US politics, but anti-monarchy kind of stance. So this is from Politics Joe. It's a little segment. I don't know if you've seen this yet, but shout out to Politics Joe.
When I do what I do it for my constituents, I do it for my country, I do it for my community. I don't do it for the king. It's nothing personal against King Charles, but it's just not where my loyalties lie. My loyalties lie to my constituents. My loyalties lie to this country, the people of this country. I want to defend democracy. I want to uphold human rights. I want to defend minorities. I want to do good things with my time. And having to swear, some people might want to swear to the king, and that's fine, and let them. But some of us I think, in the 21st century would like to swear to a different set of values, and the values that we came into politics for. I did not come into politics for the king or his heirs and successors. I came into politics for my community, my country, my constituents, to make the country a better place. And you know, the oath should reflect that. I made the oath under protest because I would love to see this country as a republic, not because I have any issue with King Charles or his heirs or successors individually, but the institution of monarchy is, whilst it's there, it's a massive symbol of the values of our society, of our polity. It basically says that wealth and privilege and power can be hereditary, nothing to do with opportunity, nothing to do with hard work. By a quirk of your genetics, a genetic like you are going to inherit vast wealth and power and influence, and that sets the tone for the rest of politics, the rest of society. It's often asked, why do we have the political leaders we have? Well, one reason is because we have a political institution which embodies values which I don't think many people equate with an open, tolerant, broad, equal democracy. But I do what I do.
Yeah, and this is just one of the many outdated things within the system itself, as we're all aware. And that's a reasonable explanation for doing what he did. He eventually was made to take the oath in its traditional form. And it just shows where establishment influence is versus the will of the people. Something at least a little bit more modern. If monarchy is, as it's supposed to be, detached from Parliament. But there's clearly a couple of threads there. And they might be as thin as certain monarchs' hair, for example, but they are still there. No, it's not that, So outdated, what can we say? Octomimic, thanks for those 5 gifted memberships. Thanks for that. Yeah, that's an awesome way to show solidarity on the channel. Thanks a lot. Hope you enjoy your perks. But yeah, where was I? Another thing that obviously Clive Lewis was talking about yesterday on the Sunday live stream, in those clips from the JSO demo, alongside Chris Packham, sorry, I'm just getting something lined up. Yeah, alongside Chris Packham, Del Vince, Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall, and a whole host of others. But this kind of follows on from that, because we spoke a little bit yesterday about the judge involved in the case with these record sentences, and the same judge, alas, I'll just take us back up to the screen, is presiding over another case this week, one that you'll probably be familiar with from back in August 2022. The judge, of course, has given out far more lenient sentences for far more heinous crimes, and in certain cases, shall we say, even though I'm sure it's just a coincidence, they happen to be from wealthy families. Yeah, I spoke more about that on yesterday's live stream, so please do check it out. So remember Phoebe Plummer and Anna Holland, we threw the soup on the Van Gogh course in August 2024, Judge Hahir, who sentenced what has now become known as the Whole Truth 5 to a total of 21 years last week, is hearing the case. Shout out to Rangzen at Revolting Hippie, another good friend of mine. And that's kind of worrying, but there has been a lot of public pressure about these kinds of sentences. Yeah, I won't go through too many comments. I'll keep you posted on that, of course, but this judge, from what we've seen recently, is all fire and fucking brimstone, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. So I'll keep you updated on that, of course. If you can go and show support for them, please do. Just wanted to quickly update you on that one. Okay. Oh, Davini Robbins, shout out, you've been a member for 2 months. Thanks for staying with us on My Left Eye. Yeah, and welcome back, Becca. Vicky Clee as well. Great to see you again. And Nura Yank. Just having a sip of my brew. Okay, yeah, fingers crossed for Phoebe and Anna this week. I'll keep you posted. I was quickly going to go into some UK stuff. Yeah, this will sort of segue us into a bit of an update on Gaza as well. So, we touched on some stuff yesterday, but of course one of the latest rulings, again, Israel have been found guilty in an international criminal court. But despite this, there's no signs that we as a country are looking at stopping arming and funding Israel. And also recently things have been looking very, very edgy. Spoken on the channel before about how there could be a lot of tipping points in terms of warfare with this occupation, and there's conflicts on multiple fronts where Israel are concerned. There's been fighting on the border with Lebanon, and recently Israel have struck Yemen after a Houthi drone hit Tel Aviv, of course. Yeah, so I'm going to go to a clip of Starmer in the House of Commons, but I just quickly want to point out what I mentioned yesterday as well. He's dragging his feet. A lot of this is, basically dressing up, not doing anything at all. He's just trying to throw crumbs on the table, and almost as quickly as he's done so, he's just going to waft them off again. So yeah, an example of this. I mean, fortunately, he's had to sort of try and pacify people with something So the UK have started to fund UNRWA again after that terrible attack on the convoy. But I want you to pay attention to the specific language that Starmer uses, and this is what gives it away. The actual words that he uses in this clip, and you can soon see that it's thinly veiled nonsense.
Spoken to region and allies around the world about our collective response. How can we deal with the malign influence of Iran, address their nuclear program, manage the threat from the Houthis, ease tension on Israel's northern border, and work with all partners to uphold regional security? Fundamental to this, of course, is the conflict in Gaza.
He won't even bring up the fact that Netanyahu has an arrest warrant. By the ICC, but the ICJ have ruled that there is not an occupation, and that it is a war crime. Mr. Former Director of Public Prosecutions, how many times does he have to remind us that he held that position and that he was a human rights lawyer? It seems to have overlooked these rulings in the international courts. I wonder why. I wonder why he could choose to have selective hearing when it comes to that kind of thing. Let us know what you think about that in the chat. So he's going to go into this now. And again, pay close attention to the exact words on the situation in Gaza.
I've spoken to the leaders of Israel.
He's spoken to them. I bet he has. So was he actually speaking in order to try and negotiate a proper ceasefire, do you think? Or was it more in terms of a listening exercise for Keith? What exactly should he say? What would be the contents of any kind of proposed ceasefire? What would those be? Perhaps maybe those kind of conversations.
And the Palestinian Authority. I've been clear that I fully support Israel's right to security, the desperate need to see the hostages returned. And I've also been clear that the situation in Gaza is intolerable and that the world will not look away as innocent civilians, including women and children, continue to face death, disease and displacement. Mr. Speaker, it cannot go on.
He's certainly changed his tune from the memorable clip about cutting off water power, etc. The old Nick Ferrari clip. And the fact that he does this unchallenged as well, so much on mainstream media. I know it's a live Parliament feed here, not an interview or anything, but the details, the devil's in the details.
We need an immediate ceasefire. Hostages out.
So, on both occasions, the very first thing he's mentioned is hostages. And obviously, there have been deals on the table that have included hostage exchanges. There are not just hostages on the Israeli side. There are thousands of people being detained in Israeli prisons, Palestinians, without charge as well. But But this is what could probably be one of the hardcore conditions of any proposed ceasefire, you know what I mean? And when they say every hostage has got to be released, let's just say that it's going to be obvious that it's under the influence of lobbyists and such.
Aid in a huge scale-up of humanitarian assistance. That is the policy of this government, and an immediate ceasefire is the only way to achieve it.
We need to stop sending them things to kill people with as well. Why won't he acknowledge that? That should be priority number one.
So we will do all we can in pursuit of these goals, which is why, as one of the first actions taken by this government, we have restarted British funding to the UN Relief and Works Agency to deliver that crucial humanitarian support. Mr. Speaker, we received the ICJ opinion on Friday and will consider it carefully before responding.
They'll consider it carefully before responding, because Keir Starmer must be bigger than the International Court of Justice, perhaps, or he just thinks that he is. It's the International Court of Justice and the ICC. Before they consider a response. He's probably just going to have to get Netanyahu on the phone again, isn't he, to find out what he's got to do. But yeah, absolutely paramount that we stop, either directly or indirectly, sending weapons to Israel.
But let me say that we've also always been opposed to the expansion of illegal settlements, and we call on all sides to recommit to stability, peace and normalisation, and the two-state solution. A recognised Palestinian state, the right of the Palestinian people, alongside a safe and secure Israel.
Yes, what do you think about that one? Yeah, we might have just elected John Major Mark II. It's almost like he gets up in the morning and tries to see which way the wind's blowing. He's got to say something, of course, with these rulings having come out. But he didn't acknowledge them. He knows the weight of public opinion by now, surely. Yeah, but at the end of the day, Starmer's going to be soft on Netanyahu, who's going to be soft on Israel. As we all know, we know who's being lobbied by who. At least 50k that we know of to Starmer. Over double that to David Lammy. Foreign Secretary. Yeah, but up next, there have also been calls for Israel to be banned from standing in the upcoming Olympic Games in Paris. And I've found a little clip about that as well. Yeah, you're right, Octo Mimic. It bores my piss too when they cheered doing something that people told them to do months ago like they're good people. No, they're not. Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But, yeah. Don't say we didn't warn you. Not saying should have stuck with the Tories. Had a real chance to get some proper socialist representation in the House of Commons. But alas, here we are. Right, this is the video about the Olympic ban campaign.
When South Africa was an apartheid state, they were sanctioned from international trades. They were banned from international competitions like sporting events. They were not allowed to participate in the Olympics, cricket, Rugby World Cup, FIFA World Cup, cricket, this, and all of the sport, no, you name it, they were not allowed to participate. So my question to FIFA president, why have you not banned Israel from participating in FIFA competitions? The international community demands that you ban Israel because the ICJ has officially declared Israel an apartheid state. They should not be allowed to compete. When South Africa
Yeah, these are the same charges. These are the same findings from international courts. Occupation and apartheid. And with the Summer Olympics coming up, yeah, well, the heat's going to be cranked up. Not just with the weather, but politically as well. Definitely. This could still happen if people keep up public pressure. The same way that Starmer's been forced to move the way that he has by people keeping up with public pressure. We heard from Clive Lewis earlier as well, of course. One of the rare MPs left in the Labour Party who could be described as socialist, but also another one who's shown a lot of support for Palestine is, of course, Zara Sultana, along with Clive Lewis, who has as well, of course. This is something she had to say recently, and I do like, you know, how bold she is in essentially criticising her own party on the BBC platform as well. And it's bang on, but it feels like people like Zara Sultana, Clive Lewis are perhaps in the wrong party now. Corbyn's shown that you can still serve your constituents if that's your reason for still wanting to be a Labour MP, without having to be under the whim of Starmer. Right, so this Zara's little dig here, quite like this.
Well, if the Labour Party has a moral mission, it has to be to eradicate poverty, especially child poverty. There are families experiencing unnecessary hardship. Rachel mentioned tough decisions. We can fund this.
Yeah, this is about the two-child benefit cap, obviously. Should have just pointed that out.
If we look at different tax decisions where the wealthiest, through the broader shoulders, pay for this, we can. We are the 6th largest economy in the world, yet one of the most unequal in the developed world. We can fund this commitment if we want to, and it's a matter of political will. We can uplift 300,000 kids instantly from poverty if we do this. This policy is the policy of Labour Party's 11 affiliated unions. It's also the policy of the TUC, which speaks up for 6 million workers.
And you'll often find on mainstream media, I mean, this is a compilation of what Zara had to say, not the full back and forth between the panel, but you'll often find it's clamped down on pretty early on, especially on shows like Question Time and whatnot, the odd chance that they do actually get a proper left-leaning person on the panel. And it gets shut down because the very people interviewing them are the very people who want to avoid making that extra contribution to society to help out in a bizarre, twist on the whole situation. But that's obviously not unbiased reporting when that happens. And yeah, aside from all that about perhaps Sarah being in the wrong party or whatever, whoever she's representing, she'll always stand up and speak the truth.
So this is, not a radical demand. In fact, if Rachel decided to put a 2% wealth tax on assets over 10 billion, you could raise £24 billion a year. If you want to equalise capital gains with income rate thresholds, you can raise 16.7 billion. So when we say that there isn't any money to fund this, we're not looking in the right places.
Okay.
Well, that's right. Rachel Reeves appears to be blind to so many ways to fund so many different things, including including scrapping the two-child benefit cap. And Zara's presented a clear and concise example there. But all we'll hear from Reeves is that, they don't have the money for it. I mean, we've seen this before, we're seeing it again. It's just different faces. No inspiration, no motivation for policy, except to start blaming minorities and immigrants. Yvette Cooper's launching this crackdown on minorities to appease fucking Daily Mail readers, but no ideas to actually solve the real problems in society that are affecting millions of families. And we're still in the first month of the first year. You can expect more whoppers to come. It's just sometimes I can't believe the excuses that they try and come out with for not funding public services or for not helping out with welfare. And everything that comes out of Rachel Reeves' mouth, I mean, what can you say? Jeff knows.
That is one big pile of shit.
Thanks, Jeff. Right, I'm going to get on to the next clip. Of course, Zara, just a quick reminder, voted for the ceasefire back in November 2023 when so many Labour MPs abstained. Just going back on to updates in Gaza now. Oh, I did want to remind you about this as well. Just to point that out. It looks like, whether she becomes president or not, it's going to be a continuation of the same policy where Gaza's concerned. Arguably, people say Trump would be even worse, that he's even fonder of Netanyahu. But there've been a couple of good protests around. I think this one was today down in Brighton. Yeah, so this is a Brighton Palestine support group. what they've done with the protesters, asked people to sign the name of a Palestinian, write the name of a Palestinian on one of these ribbons, and then they're tied up. Unfortunately, the numbers are just so incredible. They'd have to be queuing up for blocks, you know. Yeah, you could cover that entire monument and then some with the names. Of course, we always like to show support, solidarity for Palestine here on My Left Eye. We've seen other protests before where there have been things such as shoes representing people that have been killed, children's shoes. And again, you know, even though you look around where the protests happening and they're everywhere, if they actually literally each represented one person that had been killed, it just really puts it into perspective, the scale of this. And another one that's happened recently has been, so yeah, again, shout out to Brighton, Palestine support there. Top show of solidarity. Yeah, members in the chat, hit those Free Palestine static emojis if you can. Show some support. Another one, I'm not sure if this was today, but recently, Mothers Against Genocide carried out this protest. And just as I was pointing out there, the sheer scale of these things, it's a bit of an emotional clip, this one. The person in the clip gets quite emotional when you think about this. In this example, they've used not real, of course, but dummies of babies wrapped up in blankets in prams to represent children. Obviously, this shocking proportion of people who've been killed are women and children. And yeah, I want to share this one with you. It does get a bit emotional though, just letting you know that before I start the clip, because it really is a great point what she makes.
We are Mothers Against Genocide Ireland, and we're here today standing on the streets of Dublin with our buggies that are empty. We've left our children at home today to stand in solidarity with the women, the mothers of Palestine and their children who have been killed. So you can see here there are pictures of various different children. Of course, there's far too many children murdered to actually cover all of the... Sorry. Cover all of the... Sorry.
That's from Dublin. Well done, Mothers Against Genocide there. But yeah, just that part again where she points out, you know, if it literally was the number of children that would be killed in this awful humanitarian crisis, then it'd go for blocks and blocks and blocks up the street.
The mothers of Palestine and their children who have been killed. So you can see here there are pictures of various different children. Of course, there's far too many children murdered to actually cover all of the... Sorry.
Wow. Yeah, incredible. But it's still fantastic to see continued sustained support for Palestine and for Gazans, new and different ways of protesting, demonstrating. Got to keep the pressure up, guys. Okay. Okay, folks, just another quick shout out. Please do hit the thumbs up button if you're listening live on the stream or on a replay. Help us reach more people. Please do share us across your social media as well. We're also available on Twitter if you want to give us a follow there at MyLeftEyeUK. And also please do consider helping to support the channel as Octomimic has done this evening. Thanks a lot for those 5 gifted memberships. Yeah, hit the button under the stream if you want to find out more about the perks, or hit the super thanks if you're watching back on replay. Keep an eye on the social media as well, and in the community chat for the next upcoming content. Just started working on a video. It's not quite ready yet, but that'll be coming out in the next couple of days. And I'll be back with more Brews at 10 through the week, of course. Or we'll have PMQs coming up on Wednesday, the first proper PMQs. We've had various arse-kissing ceremonies so far and whatnot, but not a proper go at PMQs, which will be coming back. Been making some adjustments to the counter as well. Of course, now that we've got same policies but different faces. But again, a lot of the same syntax. So I'll be returning to PMQs. Thanks a lot for your comments in the chat. It's been great to see you. And yeah, if you're not listening live, please do add a comment as well. I'll try and get back to as many of those as I can. Alright, so yeah, you've been fantastic, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me on the stream. I'll be seeing you through the week, I hope. Hit the notification button so you don't miss out on the content. I'm just going to quickly see if anyone's live at the moment. I did say I'd raid in to anyone. Just one moment. So please do stick around if there is someone. No, it looks like Kev Logan, like I said at the top of the stream. Yeah, his stream's finished, I think, as well. Oh, but also, again, sorry, before I do go, shout out to Helena, No Justice, I'll just put a link in the description for any of my Left Eye subs who haven't checked out Helena's No Justice channel quite yet. Please do so. Kevin Logan also regularly appears as a guest. I'll put a link to his channel in the chat as well. Bear with. Yeah, I was on. I wasn't on as a guest. I mean, I was watching and joined the chat for his stream earlier. You had Curtis on from Turn Left. Callum from Political. That's Politi _ Cal, like the name Callum. Joined Kev as well. That was a great chat actually. You know, never seen those guys together. It was good to see him going over a few things. Anyway, just get the link for Kevin Logan's channel. There we go. Alright, so even though they're not on live streams at the moment, please do check them out and subscribe and all that stuff if you've not done so already. So that's No Justice is the first link I've shared. Kevin Logan, second one. Shout out again to No Justice for raiding in onto the stream. Solidarity, looking forward to both Kevin and Helena's next content. But from me, that's all for this evening. My Left Eye, I'll be seeing you soon.